All right, so I watched What If Season 3, Episode 6, and this one is basically what if Shang-Chi was a cowboy in the 1800s. And I will say, that's just a really fun premise right off the bat, and I think they, execute it decently well. I think Simu Liu is putting on, kind of a fun little cowboy performance. Kate Bishop is his little sidekick. I think she's fun as well. Interestingly enough, he doesn't actually have the 10 rings. He's just a guy that knows Kung Fu, which I prefer personally. I think that Shang-Chi was a much more interesting character in his movie when he was just a guy that knew Kung Fu. Like, by the end of the movie, when he essentially becomes like fucking Goku and he's fighting a giant dragon, that's kind of when the movie lost me. So I actually don't mind at all the fact that the Ten Rings, the way that plays into this story is that he's the legend of, it's like the legend of Shang-Chi, where if you ring a bell 10 times and he'll show up and beat you up or whatever. And yeah, like that whole motif there worked for me. Kate Bishop, she doesn't use a bow and arrow. She's just really good at shooting a gun, which makes sense, I guess, for the for like the cowboy sort of thing that they're going for. There's a villain called the Hood. I think that this is supposed to be like a play on the Hood, who's also supposed to appear in the Ironheart series. I think that that's what they're going for here. It's just kind of funny because, you know, we actually talked about it in yesterday's episode, where yesterday's episode was an Ironheart themed episode, but I think that this season was supposed to air after the Ironheart TV show, but because the MCU has been turned all upside down, things have gotten delayed and whatnot. I think What If is like ahead of the MCU release schedule in a way. Honestly, like they were probably wanting to get the Sam Wilson episode out after Brave New World as well. Now that I think about it, so kind of weird, but it's just it is what it is. So Shang-Chi's sister was kidnapped, so he has that sort of emotional grounding to the character. Kate Bishop's like parents were also killed by the Hood. So they're kind of like working together to stop the villain or whatever. There's this like little kid character that gets introduced, and they end up taking care of him. I think they took his dad or whatever. And it's one of those things where none of these characters get super deep. I think the storytelling is always going to be a little lacking in these What If episodes, but for the bar of a 25-minute What If episode, I think they do a decent job of making you care about the characters.